Baron Corbin's bald. I can't believe he's bald. Oh my. Oh. Shit. The night's opening segment kicked off with all 8 Raw participants in the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches standing on ladders in the middle of the ring ready to banter each other off, with Corey Graves stating that we've never kicked off Raw like this before. Well guys, this is going to be hard to believe and I hate to be the one to break it to you, but WWE and Corey Graves were lying. This was, of course, a near direct recreation of a segment that took place in the build to Money in the Bank 2016 on an episode of Raw in Appleton, Wisconsin, which Kevin Owens was actually a part of. This was a spot of classic WWE goldfish writing. It's almost kind of funny that they just expect their viewers not to remember such things, but that's just the way it is. Speaking of Corey Graves, he seemed a little bit off last night. I mean, sure, he bantered Coach off a couple of times, but he wasn't his usual fiery self throughout the duration of the broadcast, and it really felt like he was being held back. Now I'm drawing a line here, but what if this was a response to the incendiary series of tweets he sent out to CM Punk on Saturday night? Graves demolished Punk after his latest loss in the UFC, but given the company Dr. Chris Amman just lost a big defamation case to Punk in court, it isn't beyond belief that company officials may just have told Graves to calm his tits this week. Now I'm not going to let Corey Graves' announcing partners get off easy here because Jonathan Coachman didn't have a good night either. His worst moment came in the Elias-Seth Rollins segment when, after Seth had just smashed Elias's guitar, Coachman blurted out that John Mayer, who'd given Elias the instrument, is one of the greatest hip-hop acts of our generation. And to make matters worse, when he was called out by Corey Graves, Coachman doubled down, comparing the pop/blues/rock artist to Jay-Z. At this stage, it's impossible to tell whether or not this dumbness is supposed to be part of Coachman's act. I'd love to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not sure he deserves it. To No Way Jose's conga line next, and there were a couple of interesting bits and pieces here. Last night saw the return of the old hamburger costume, which was once a fixture in Adam Rose's Rosebuds lineup and was famously worn by James Ellsworth. With rumours of the chin that eats the pin's imminent return at Money in the Bank, was this a spot of foreshadowing by the WWE writing team? Or was it just a lazy bit of work by the costume department? I'll let you decide. Also in the conga line were 3 notable indie wrestlers, Joey Lynch, O'Shea Edwards and Prince Apollo, who usually work the southern indie promotions in America. Lynch is probably the biggest name of the 3 and is best known for his work in the annual Scenic City Invitational Tournament. As always, it's just great to see these guys get paying work on WWE television, so good on them. Another semi-familiar face showed up in the Riot Squad's backstage segment, during which Ruby and Co skipped through the backstage area, knocked a bunch of trash over, and then snipped this poor guy's tie off. This was WWE writer Robert Evans, who, if you have an eye on the indie scene, you may recognise as former Ring of Honor wrestler R.D. Evans, or Archibald Peck, from Shikara. He's been a WWE writer since October 2016, but as far as I can tell, this is his first spot as an extra. What a bloody sign, lads. As Jinder Mahal was standing on the ramp after the Singh brother had lost to Roman Reigns, WWE caught a glimpse of a big white sign reading Jinder takes Ico Pro. Ico Pro was, of course, a failed line of supplements that Vince McMahon used to market in the early 90s, particularly around about the time that he was trying to get the World Bodybuilding Federation off the ground. It was a total flop, so much so in fact that Vince once had to dump 3 million gallons of the stuff somewhere in Connecticut, which I guess kind of explains Mahal's vascularity. So, this Deleters of World act, it's not working. Now, the Arkansas crowd weren't particularly vocal all night long, but they were super quiet during Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy's promos, and didn't even bother their arse for the usual delete chants. This is something you may not have picked on if you weren't totally locked into the segment, and while I think we all want this gimmick to soar, and it's certainly a little bit too early to write it off completely, this shows that it really isn't clicking yet. The Money in the Bank preview 4-ways were comfortably the best thing on the show, but there was a nasty spot in the women's opener when Natalya needs Sasha Banks in the back of the head to break a submission. The boss took the brunt of it with her whole body snapping forward extremely awkwardly. She's lucky her bones are made of rubber because a normal, less athletic human would have likely suffered severe trauma to the neck and spine. It's surprising as well that this came from Natalya, who, for all the complaints levied towards her character work, is very slick between the ropes. A shame, but we picked up on it. Okay, so Nia Jax. I know we rag on her every single week, but the company are doing such a bad job with her character at the moment, it's only right we point it out. This week's big bad lie came during her in-ring segment with Ronda Rousey, during which she went on a massive rant about how she'd been with the company for all this time, grinding away, working hard, while Ronda Rousey waltzed in and took a spot, yada yada yada. Quick fact check, Nia Jax has actually only been under WWE employ since May 2015, and this actually makes her one of the least tenured members of the main roster. Oh, and, you know, being cousins with The Rock definitely didn't have a role in her getting her job. No, not at all. Absolutely not. To the main event then, and kudos to Kevin Owens for accomplishing the rare feat of being a WWE heel who actually learns from his mistakes. Last week, KO backed out of a frog splash from the ladder on Finn Balor, and he paid for it moments later, eating a coup de grace. It was almost like he developed a fear of heights, but that was nowhere to be found this week as he climbed a ladder on the stage and splashed Braun Strowman through the announce table. WWE heels are usually booked like such dumbasses that it always feels refreshing when a moment like this comes along, showing that they do have a bit of intelligence and they are capable of learning from past mistakes. Sure, Owens still lost the match, but this was a nice touch. And finally, Braun Strowman's a good isn't he? The Monster Among Men finished the night's main event by power slamming Kevin Owens onto a ladder, but you had to make a little adjustment first. If you watch carefully, you'll notice that Braun hesitates just a little bit before hitting the move, because if he executes it normally, he's going to smoosh Kevin's head and neck onto the ladder. That wouldn't be very pleasant, but this small, minor adjustment ensured that Owens took the brunt of the impact on his back and thus kept him protected. This would have still hurt like hell, but it's the right way to take it, and if a wrestler's job is to primarily protect their opponent, then Braun's doing his just fine. What a lovely bloke. So there you have it, our trip through Raw's various Easter eggs, snafus and smaller details is complete. Head on down the comments section now, let us know what you thought of the show, and whether you yourself picked up on any smaller bits and pieces yourself. Once you've done all that, why not head over to whatculture.com/WWE and check out great articles from great men like Michael Sidgwick, Michael Hamflett, Jamie Kennedy and a host of others. We've got all kinds of New Japan Dominion stuff up there now, and as the week progresses you'll see those Money in the Bank articles popping up all over the place. Oh yeah, it'd be nice if you liked, shared and subscribed to this bad boy as well. Bye bye!